Story 1. Vultures do not even kill anything. They only clean up the mess. More rotting meat lying around is not a good thing. Story 2. Possums are like nature's cleanup crew. They prefer rotting fruit and vegetables to fresh ones. They eat pests we do not want around and also consume rotting carcasses that can spread harmful pathogens. They are resistant to things such as rabies, botulism, and some snake venoms, so they can eat many items that would be dangerous to humans without becoming ill or transmitting those hazards. As a result, they help keep the areas where they live safer for people. Although many people find them unsettling and they do not look like friends, they are beneficial in many ways and are great for the ecosystem. Story 3. Snakes. More than 80% of snakes are non-venomous, and many species people encounter near their homes are helpful. People think I am nuts when I say I like that rat snakes live in the woods behind our house. We leave them alone, they leave us alone, and we have free pest control for rodents. Story 4. Bees. People don't like them, but they're absolutely vital to plant life. They are also happy little flyers simply collecting pollen. Story 5. Possums look like large, scary rats but are actually helpful marsupials that eat insects and rotting fruit. They are largely immune to rabies and most parasites. These sharp-toothed animals are just here to help. Story 6. Sharks. Most will not mess with you. Komodo dragons are the most deserving of a bad reputation. Do not look up Komodo dragons eating animals alive. That is what they do. It is terrifying how long large animals can live without most of their organs. Someone shared a video of it on Reddit and it scarred me forever. Story 7. American possums are often portrayed as diseased vermin, but they are actually very gentle. Story 8. Snakes simply want to get away from you and only bite when cornered, threatened, or stepped on. They are great for rodent control and generally mind their own business. I understand they can be problematic around livestock and children in wilder areas, but snakes do not want to harm you. Story 9. Hyenas. They are wild animals. Their jaws are made to crush bone. They are apex predators. But beyond that, they are not mustache-twirling evil geniuses trying to decimate humans. They tend to be scared of humans. Hippos and elephants kill more humans, by a wide margin, than hyenas. Story 10. Sharks are not aggressive unless you intentionally provoke them or they mistake you for food. Shark attacks are actually quite rare. Story 11. Black cats and, by extension, black dogs are subject to superstition. There is still a lot of belief that black cats bring bad luck, so they are often overlooked by potential pet owners. They stay in shelters longer and are less likely to be adopted than light-colored cats. Story 12. Spiders are important. Only a very small percentage in North America are dangerous to humans, but they keep many other insects in check. Story 13. Sharks are more like clumsy, playful sea puppies than killing machines. Story 14. Bats are important. Most eat fruit or insects and help control insect populations. Some can carry rabies, but this is fairly rare. Never touch a bat with bare hands. Bats pollinate many types of food, including the agave used to make tequila. They are also very cute. Story 15. Snakes, in general, want to be left alone and are usually non-venomous. Story 16. Snakes. Here in the United States, the vast majority of them are non-venomous and want to be left alone. They don't want us around any more than most people want them around. Story 17. People really ate up that koala copy pasta. I have seen threads of Reddit users acting as if they were actually an unworthy animal. I shared it with a family member who is a lead koala researcher for the state government as a joke, and he nearly had a stroke. Story 18. Rats are lovely and intelligent animals. Many people think they carry diseases or are messy, but the truth is they are clean and do not like a mess. If you have rats, they can even become upset if their cage is dirty. Story 19. Did you know that without spiders the world would be covered in flies? And without flies it would be covered in waste and animal carcasses? Story 20. House centipedes. They hunt and eat brown recluse spiders. Seriously, if you are lucky enough to have house centipedes in your basement, leave them alone. They are your friends. Story 21. Do not get me wrong, I do not like them in my home either. But they remove a lot of insects, even if it seems like many remain. Very few spiders can harm a person. The vast majority of bites cause only itchy bumps. Even bites from potentially deadly species rarely result in death. Story 22. Spiders look creepy, but most species help rather than harm us. Story 23. Alligators. I love them. Every interaction I've had with them has been positive. Story 24. Black cats. My black cat is the sweetest per machine, bringing goodness everywhere. Story 25. Crows are basically sky puppies. They are among the most intelligent birds. They are very emotional and can form trusting bonds with humans. They are also quite cute. Story 26. Cassowaries are beautiful birds and somewhat dangerous, though less so than the ostrich. Stay far away and let them have whatever they want. Story 27. Possums may look scary when frightened, but they perform important environmental cleanup and are quite docile. Story 28. Snakes are definitely up there. 99.9% of the time, you will be bitten only if you are careless enough to step on or near a snake, or if you antagonize snakes. Story 29. Blobfish. Sure, they aren't a beauty, but they don't normally look like Kirby run over by a semi-truck. They deform only because of the intense, drastic change in pressure. Humans would be harmed in those conditions as well. Story 30. Birds are often taken for granted, but it's remarkable that they are the most integrated animals in our cities. Story 31. Hyenas are successful and intelligent hunters that live in matriarchal clans. They steal kills from lions at about the same rate that lions steal from them. The Lion King portrayed them as an evil black woman, a Hispanic man, and a man presented as cognitively impaired. It is a great movie, but it is extremely poor in its portrayals of hyenas and people. Story 32. House hippos. Who cares if you have to wipe up a little peanut butter every once in a while? Story 33. Hyenas are not scavengers. They hunt at night and are sometimes filmed when other predators arrive to take their kills. These hard-working animals were the ones who captured the prey in the first place. Story 34. Coyotes mate for life and only scavenge because other animals strongly dislike them and repeatedly try to kill them for being nearby. Story 35. Elephant mosquitoes look like huge, scary mosquitoes but do not bite people. Their larvae eat the mosquitoes that do bite people, so they are beneficial. Adults feed on nectar and eat garden pests, acting as pollinators and natural pest control. Story 36. Although some snakes can kill you, they do far more good than harm. Story 37. Bats are often unfairly vilified yet play crucial roles in ecosystems. They consume vast quantities of insects, including mosquitoes and crop pests, reducing the need for chemical pesticides. Story 38. Sharks are dangerous, but the threat is often exaggerated. Cows are more dangerous than sharks. Story 39. Skunks are not looking for trouble. I have captured them in have-a-heart animal traps on 3 occasions and released them back into the wild. They are actually fairly easy to handle without being sprayed. Story 40. Orcas, also known as killer whales, have caused 0 fatalities in the wild in recorded history. Story 41. Pigeons were domesticated by humans, and when they were no longer useful, they were released into the wild. Story 42. Rats are smart and cute, and pet rats are some of the most loving little companions. Story 43. Spiders. The little ones are just protecting us and our food, but socialized fear is too strong. Story 44. Dinosaurs were likely a lot fatter and cuter than archaeologists made them out to be. Story 45. Chihuahuas. It is not their fault that they have lazy owners who think their aggressive, fearful behavior is funny. Behind 99% of so-called evil chihuahuas is an owner who has encouraged or mollycoddled the dog into that behavior. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but chihuahuas are dogs, not babies. They need a proper diet of dog food, not human food. They need to be leash-trained, socialized at a young age, and taught at least the basics of dog training. Yes, they are small and more fragile than larger dogs. Yes, they may need jackets in cold weather and might need to be carried on very long walks, but they are dogs. Stop letting them bite people. Stop letting them go after dogs 3 times their size. You are risking their lives. Stop treating them like babies. My grandmother had chihuahuas. I was bitten a couple of times, not because they were aggressive, but because I was rough and provoked them as a child. They never drew blood. I knew I was 100% in the wrong, and I never blamed them. I learned to be gentle with them, and by the time of their passing, we were very good friends. They were well-trained, intelligent dogs who knew basic commands and were leash and potty trained. They showed no aggression or fear and were amazing little dogs. In most cases, the owner is to blame. Story 46. Roaches wander looking for food and mates, just like me. They do not bite or sting. Story 47. Coyotes are skittish by nature and are more afraid of us than we are of them. They will not attack domesticated animals unless they are truly starving. They are more likely to eat garbage than to take a cat or a chicken. If you are a farmer, you should be more concerned with ermines, also called stoats, and other mustelids. These aggressive, energetic little predators will kill animals much larger than themselves even when they are not hungry. Story 48. Spiders are actually beneficial even inside the house, catching and eating flies and mosquitoes. Story 49. Pretty much any animal with a bad reputation. The main exceptions I can think of are parasites, especially Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium ovale, and Plasmodium malariae. Maybe hippos, but they are generally much easier to avoid than microscopic pathogens spread by mosquitoes. Story 50. Bees only sting when they feel threatened. It is like this. If you walked up to a person and pulled a gun on them, that person would defend themselves. If you simply walked by and did nothing, the bees would not bother you. Story 51. Spiders are the primary predators of mosquitoes in urban areas and inside homes. Story 52. Spiders can be unsettling. Those 8 legs and big, beady eyes can be frightening, but they are actually quite harmless. They only bite to feed or to defend themselves. They're smart enough to know you are far larger than they are, so they have no interest in biting or eating you. They mostly want to rest, mate, and eat the insects around your home. Plus, jumping spiders are very cute. Story 53. Spiders are mostly harmless. Almost none of them can hurt you, and only a few of those that can would ever bite. People who get bitten usually press on spiders, forcing the spider's fangs into their skin. Most people who claim to have been bitten have not. It is said. The brown recluse spider has been especially harmed by misinformation. Story 54. Many people fear spiders, but 99% do not pose a medically significant risk and are not aggressive toward humans. They are also effective at controlling roaches, mosquitoes, and flies. If I see one in the house, I leave it alone unless it is in my room, in the kitchen, or out in the open. Then I move it outside. Story 55. Snakes are genuinely lovely creatures when you handle them with kindness. Story 56. Tarantulas and possums. Tarantulas are intimidating but generally harmless. Possums have a bad reputation in my country because of the mistaken belief that they carry rabies. In fact, they are largely immune to the virus. I do not think any animal deserves a bad reputation. They all have their purpose on this planet. Story 57. There are very few venomous spiders in most countries. In my country, the United Kingdom, people still scream when they see them. Story 58. Brown recluse spiders. Yes, their bites can cause severe skin and tissue damage in rare cases. But as their name indicates, they are reclusive. They are like grumpy old creatures that prefer to be left alone in cardboard boxes while hunting insects. Story 59. Most spiders are not poisonous and actually eat annoying insects like flies. Story 60. Hyenas actually hunt more than lions do, despite being known as scavengers. Lions also steal much of their prey. Hyenas have a unique social structure not seen in many other animals, in which females are dominant and often have higher testosterone levels than males. Story 61. Consider commonly demonized animals such as spiders, sharks, and snakes. Spiders act as natural pest control and typically stay in corners or burrows. The vast majority do not have a fatal bite and are not inclined to bite. Venom is valuable to them because they use it to subdue prey. Snakes are similar, though some species are more dangerous because they inject larger quantities of venom. They generally want to avoid humans and will flee unless cornered or provoked. They may deliver a dry bite as a warning. Non-venomous snakes are harmless except for large constrictors. Even then, they do not actively hunt humans and attacks are extremely rare. Sharks are generally not a threat. Attacks typically result from mistaken identity, such as surfers being mistaken for seals, and such incidents are very rare. Much of the fear comes from entertainment media like the film Jaws or Shark Week. In reality, sharks do not view humans as prey. These animals do not seek out human-inhabited spaces, so it is uncommon to be harmed by them. Domesticated dogs are more dangerous in this regard, often due to irresponsible owners. Story 62. Cougars prevent Lyme disease, keep herds healthy, reduce deer automobile collisions, help balance the water table by keeping deer from drinking too much, disperse seeds through their scat, and perform mercy killings of animals that would otherwise starve slowly and painfully. They do not want to eat humans. Most attacks occur when a person behaves like prey by running, for example while riding a bicycle or jogging. Since 1870, cougars have killed only 28 people in North America. You are much more likely to be killed by a dog. Story 63. Sharks only attack humans by mistake and can be quite friendly when they know you are not food. They are an important part of the ocean's ecosystem, especially the food chain. Do not rub their skin from tail to head. You can cut yourself badly depending on the species. Rubbing from head to tail is fine. Story 64. Javelinas are generally gentle unless they think you are a threat to their young. They are not rocket scientists and have poor vision, so they often misidentify harmless things as threats. Story 65. I don't care how many times people try to convince me. Nothing will make me believe sharks are cuddly. Every year during Shark Week we have to hear how the movie Jaws made people afraid of sharks and how we should stop that, as if fear of sharks were irrational. Do they want people swimming in shark-infested waters without fear? We are not exterminating sharks out of fear. Some countries kill sharks because they eat them, not because an animatronic from the 1970s convinced them to. Story 66. Every small brown spider is automatically assumed to be a brown recluse and killed on sight, even in areas without brown recluse populations. On the other hand, pandas deserve far more criticism than they receive. They are terrible animals. Story 67. Snakes, bats, and spiders are disliked by people, but they eat many kinds of pests. Story 68. To flip the script here, koalas deserve a poor reputation. They are chlamydia-ridden, inbreeding animals. Story 69. Foxes are often associated with cunning and with preying on small livestock such as poultry, but I think they can be adorable and sometimes very majestic. Story 70. Pigeons were domesticated and then abandoned by humans. They are trying to survive and often have small wounds or missing toes, yet people frequently shoo and mistreat them. I hate that so many people despise pigeons and treat them poorly. Story 71. Vultures and buzzards clean up trash and dead animals left behind. They are generally harmless. Story 72. It has to be spiders, snakes, and sharks. The curse of the letter S. The letter S seems synonymous with evil. Even in Harry Potter, Salazar Slytherin, anything that starts with S appears evil. Laughing out loud. Story 73. When another dog mauls someone, people say, it's just a dog. But when a pit bull mauls someone, it is not called another dog. It is called a pit bull. You cannot put all of them in the same basket. Owners are responsible for keeping their dogs on a leash and the gate closed. Control your dog. Train your dog with treats. I see people beat their dogs because they do not come when called. Why would they if they expect to be beaten every time? My dog had a large head, one blue eye and one brown eye. He was powerful and muscular, but the kindest dog. Pit bulls do not deserve the reputation they get. Much of the responsibility lies with the owner. I would not be proud to say I had a vicious dog. He would not be living with me. Story 74. Bats can carry rabies, which is frightening, but they have an undeserved reputation for attacking people. They are usually hunting insects stirred up by a person's movement. Story 75. Pit bulls are loving and loyal family dogs. They get a bad reputation because some people raise them to be aggressive. Story 76. Geese. Sure, they're aggressive assholes, but they're not as dangerous as people think. They're fucking birds with long-ass necks. Just pick them up and fling them. Story 77. Pit bulls are so sweet and loving. I have two snuggled up against me right now. Story 78. I'm not sure if it's relevant. I would say pit bulls, but dogs do not have bad reputations. Pit bulls do, so I do not know if that is the same. I have never met a bad pit bull, which is interesting. Even ones that were loose and running around only came up to me wanting to be played with or petted. Story 79. None of them deserve a bad reputation. I wish I could say the same for humans. Story 80. Pit bulls. Behaviorally and psychologically, humans and dogs operate eerily similarly. Hatred of pit bulls is the hallmark of someone who should not own animals and indicates a troubling lack of empathy and compassion. Before hardcore Reddit users come to brigade, it is perfectly understandable to be afraid of dogs. No dog is born to maul newborns. Like humans, dogs reflect their environment and family. The number of people who disagree is genuinely disturbing. A lack of empathy threatens animal lives and reflects a misunderstanding of basic mental health. Shame on those who fail to protect these animals and who perpetuate harmful stigma against dogs based on breed. I hope people educate themselves and volunteer with a nonprofit organization for hands-on experience, because we reap what we sow when we mistreat animals. It is our fault, not theirs. Stop spreading misinformation. Summary. Humans create vicious dogs and should bear full responsibility for their abuse. The same applies to individuals we create in our societies. It is plain and simple. Source: This is my income. Story 81. Mosquitoes. They may be irritating, but they transmit diseases that have been the leading cause of human death throughout history. Story 82. Hyenas are not worse than other wild predators, but the Lion King ruined their reputation. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.